Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner podcast. My name is Coach Scott. I will be your host today. It is Tuesday, November 5. We are back from New York after watching the New York City Marathon this past weekend. Great experience. Got to see a lot of people. We're really excited about it. The exposure of Team Ordinary at these major events, just it's awesome. And it's awesome to see. And people are saying hello to us. People are recognizing us and recognizing the brand. And I love it. And I think it's only going to grow from here. This is going to be a global phenomenon. Global phenomenon is Team Ordinary. Don't be left out, guys. Go to teamordinary.com and sign up for the team if you haven't done that already. Get yourself a Team Ordinary shirt. Wear it proudly. Head on out there. Let's do our little rundown. We'll do our roll call for the past weekend from Team Ordinary members out there racing, out there crushing it. Shannon Pier and Jelly doing the Widgie Wee 5K over in Glooscap, First Nations, Nova Scotia. She said she was doing the race with her family. I think that's pretty cool with her kids. I hope you had a good race out there, Shannon. I didn't see you post anything about it. I probably just missed it. Ray Magana out there crushing it at Disney Wine and Dine over the weekend in Orlando. Did a 10K on Saturday and then ran a half marathon on Sunday. So back-to-back races for him after, of course, finishing the Marine Corps Marathon last week. So Ray's getting out there. Ray's getting it done. Let's next we'll take a look at the New York City Marathon, the virtual version. Now, I kind of picked on this guy a little bit last week, so unfortunately we couldn't do it again. Scott Frassard signed up for the virtual version, and I gotta say, I'm hot and cold, bittersweet sort of with this New York City virtual version marathon, and I'll tell you why. There's one thing that the New York City Marathon does really, really well, and that is the New York City Marathon. They put on a great race every year. It's the only race where if someone, if the day before someone said, hey, you can run, here's a bib, you can run, obviously a legal bib, you can run the race, and I hadn't trained, I would still go and start and try to walk the thing or whatever. I would go. It's just that much of an insane experience, such a great experience that I would never pass up the opportunity to run New York, if it was given to me. That being said, the virtual version, the part that I love that the New York City Marathon, such a big entity, is legitimizing the virtual racing world. We put on a virtual race every year. Ours, of course, is much, much better. It's 10 days. It's for charity. And we do a lot of great things. The Ordinary Marathon, by the way, ordinarymarathon.com. Check that out. You can sign up for that. Or, just one brief moment, because we haven't really started our plans for next year's. We've started a little bit, but we haven't started our major plans for the Ordinary Marathon. We are going to be giving away a medal rack. It's a Team Ordinary medal rack that was made by Brian Burke. He's made it. He has it. I've got a picture of it. We'll put it up on the page. And you have to be entered in the Ordinary Marathon in order to win it. So if you're not signed up yet, we opened up registration super early. It's open. It's constantly open. Go to ordinarymarathon.com. Get yourself involved with our virtual race, which is much better than the New York City virtual race. And you can win. You could win the medal rack. Now, the thing is, New York City Marathon being what it is, and then rolling out a virtual version, asking people to kind of go out in your own neighborhood with no one cheering you on, with no one doing anything, and just running 26.2 miles on your own, and then taking a picture of your Garmin and sending it in, or however you do it. It's the antithesis of what the New York City Marathon actually is, which is people cheering you on and people, and support and seeing the city, going to the city and experiencing the city. Now, I didn't see a lot from New York Roadrunners Club about this race. I do think that they do offer an opportunity to either have a better chance of getting into the New York City Marathon next year if you ran the virtual race. I don't know if it's guaranteed. It might be guaranteed. But Scott Frassard did this one. He gave it a go. He ran about 11, 12 miles before he gave out on him. And I gotta say, it's hard to run a marathon on your own, man. It is. I mean, when you train for these things, you run 18-mile training. When you cap out 18 to 20 miles, somewhere around that. Some people do a little more, some people whatever. it is hard to do 26.2 miles on your own, no one cheering you on, obviously except for our group virtually on, we're not standing there cheering him on. It's hard. And he gave it a go, and for the second straight week in a row. I'm sorry, Scott. I talked to Scott about this though. And look, this is endurance sports. There's no shame in DNFing. There's no shame in a virtual DNF. I mean, he didn't even have to tell us all, right? I mean, he could have just said, yeah, I ran it. Oh, my Garmin gave out. Oh, he could have done anything, any number of things, but he shares it with us. And I think it's good for people to see, because endurance sports is endurance sports for a reason. Some people make training look super easy, and it's not. It's not. It takes commitment. It takes discipline. It takes a good routine. It takes available time. And it takes a desire to want to do it. All those things have to mesh together. It's not easy. You don't just casually run a marathon. That's all I gotta say. Let's turn to the real. Let's turn to the real race. Let's turn to the big one, the New York City Marathon itself. Now, we went down Friday night. Actually, we went down Saturday. Sorry. Saturday morning we went down, and it was me and Stephanie. We met up with our friend Orr to watch, and we met up with Joe Bartlett, who's the athlete I was coaching, and we met up with his wife Michelle to watch, to take in the sights in New York, and we had a great time. And to go through the people that we know that ran it. I have a list here of people who aren't technically on the team, but did run the race that I do want to acknowledge. Mike Fenton. Now, I don't, I got to ask you guys about the last names, because I don't know if it's Fenton Rose Valley or what, but I know when you register for your races, it's Mike Fenton. So we're just going to leave it at that. We met you for dinner with Danielle Rose Valley again. Had a great time at dinner. It was awesome. I'm glad you guys could make it out. So Mike ran like his 4th marathon in 5 weeks or something crazy like that. So congratulations, Mike. Way to get it done. Unfortunately, we didn't see you out there, but on race day, but way to get it done. Bev Ann, she's in our discussion group. She mentioned that she was running. Your last name really isn't Ann. You gave us your number, your bib number. We tracked you. I just don't know if you want your last name out there, so I'm not going to say it. Ramon Burmo, 3-time podcast. He's the one. He officiated the ceremony when me and Steph got married. He ran a 4:09, and I think he casually ran a 4:09, which that always bothers me, but whatever. Martinez Evans, he was out there crushing it, the goal crusher. He's been on our podcast multiple times, Martinez. He's a good dude. He finished in like 7:15, which for him is like an awesome time. Awesome time, Martinez. Way to get it done, man. Good job. Brooke Farrington and Jeremy Farrington. Jeremy, I played college football with. He's been on the podcast. Brooke has been on the podcast. They do this race every year. And they both got it done again this year. Congratulations, guys. Brooke, Jeremy. Jeremy, I got a feeling that 2020 is going to be an epic year for you. You are going to just start. Things are going to happen. I got a good feeling. It's going to happen. Epic year for you, 2020. Mark it down. Back to the team members, people on the team. Mary Kelly, way to get it done out there. We were tracking you the whole way. Congratulations on your finish. What a great race. Georgios Zavolas. Georgios, we were sitting at mile 11. We were looking for you. I think it just got too crowded. I was trying to be big. By the way, I'm wearing my Sam Fund shirt today, you might notice. That's because we went to a Sam Fund meetup the day before the race. And we were in racing, and I saw they had a little singlet for the people that were running. They had a few charity bibs this year, and they put the Ordinary Marathoner logo on the singlet. So thank you guys for that. And we also had a few beers. I brought some friends, and we drank a few beers on their tab. So today I'm paying them back by wearing the Sam Fun shirt. And congratulations to all you Sam Fun racers out there getting it done on race day. A great charity. Good to see you guys out there. I met Glenn Eisenstein out there. He's training for Boston, by the way. He's going to kill that one too. So whereas back to, Georgios, you ran by us at mile 11. I had my Team Ordinary shirt on, and I was trying to be big so you'd see it. I don't have a problem being big. I'm just too short, but whatever. We had our eyes out looking for you. We just couldn't spot you. So you ran by us, and we didn't get to see you. And then you finished in 3 hours and 41 minutes. Seriously, Georgios? So even if we made it back to the city in decent time, we weren't going to catch you over on First Avenue or Fifth Avenue for that matter. 3:41. Congratulations. He's the busiest man in sports this year. Georgios Zavolas getting it done. That leaves Joe Bartlett. Now, I've been coaching Joe for about 4 months, and I thank him because Joe has been an endurance athlete since 2011. He doesn't do just marathons. He does Ironman races. He's faster than me. He's been at this for a long time. He's dedicated. he probably knows more about the sport than I do, and I'm a coach. So for him to allow me the opportunity to coach him was eye-opening, and it was good for me. It was, I was able to learn a lot from him. And we talked a lot back and forth. We prepped his training plans. We tweaked them here and there. I got to tell you, coaching is easy when your athlete misses one workout in 4 months. One workout, and I think it was a driving rain. He was supposed to do a bike ride, and he decided not to. And I think he had beers that night instead. Good choice. We worked hard, man. We had a lot of discussions about his race day plans and how he was going to attack this and what we thought he could do. Last week, you might remember, I wrote down a time here. Now, Joe finished the race in 4:39:01. My prediction for him, and if you remember Friday's podcast, I wrote this down. My prediction was, you see it right there? It's 4:35. Can you see it? 4:35. So I was about 4 minutes light for him. Now, to talk about Joe's race here for a bit, my concern with Joe, knowing him, and really my concern for anyone doing New York City Marathon, was that he was going to go out too fast. Now, what happens in New York City, you run up the Verrazano Bridge and you look at your watch and you've done the first mile in about 11 and a half. And I told him, I said, Joe, your first mile is going to be 11 minutes or higher. And I especially wanted it to be that way, because if it had been like 9 minutes or 10 minutes, he would have been going too fast. And that uphill mile over the bridge will crush your legs by mile 15, 16 if you attack it too hard at mile 1. The problem is you're going up that bridge. The race just started. It's New York City. It's an amazing sight. You're with 50,000 of your best friends, and it's very easy to get swept up in the energy. And then you get off that bridge and you're coming downhill and you sweep into Brooklyn, and all of a sudden there's the people. And you just ride that wave of excitement, and it's hard to keep discipline to your pace at that moment in the race. And I think, that kind of happened to Joe. His first three, every 5K, you run over a little timing mat, and he was, on average about 9:30 pace, which was a lot faster than what we thought he was going to average that day. That being said, so as a coach, my first thought is, he's running too fast. And my second thought is, man, if he's having a good day, and Joe has been racing for years, so he knows himself. And I'm thinking, man, if he's having a really good day, as a coach, could I be holding him back? I estimated he'd do a 4:35. Could I have been holding him back with my strategy, my race strategy for him? That's the last thing I want. The last thing I want is for Joe to finish at 4:39 and think, geez, if it wasn't for this stupid race plan that we put together, I could have done a 4:20. That's the last thing I wanted. And I was thinking, I wrote 4:35 and I should. 4:35, when he ran a 4:39, that's exactly the place that I want to be as a coach. That's exactly where I want to be. I want to be just ahead of that number. I want to be like, all right, I expect that he, at a great day, he could do that. And he did just a little bit worse, but we got more to shoot for. That being said, I think had Joe gone out, and we talked about this yesterday, had Joe gone out and stuck to that 10-minute pace, 4:25 was probably his A. That was realistic. Now, Joe, we saw him at mile 11. We were waiting in Brooklyn, and he came by and he was smiling and he was happy. He was enjoying this race to the fullest. And I gave him a little like, yeah, you're going pretty fast. And he's like, it's going to be a great day. Today is going to be a great day. And he ran off, as he should. And I'm thinking, man, A, I think he's going too fast. But B, he looks pretty good. Now, we went to the bathroom quick after we saw him pass. There's a restaurant right there. There's no line. We didn't really wait too long. We were going about 6-7 miles. We were taking the subway up to the Upper East Side. We were supposed to meet Joe at 90th and 1st. So we got off we went to take the L. Now the L at mile 11 is basically the subway that gets into town. When I tell you, we waited for the L for about 25 minutes. We got there pretty quickly. We didn't have a long walk. We waited there for 25 minutes. The platform got really crowded. We had our stroller because we had Ellie in the stroller. And by the time we got to the city and then changed, and really on the 456, we took the 6 line north, which is with a local, but I didn't think that we were going to get on the express. And the local, honestly, is so short right there. It doesn't really matter if you're local or express. But the first train there was the 6. We jumped on it. And I took that route when I lived in New York. So I know it's not that long. It's not that. There's no way in hell that it should have taken over an hour for us to get from mile 11 to mile 18. There's no way in hell. There's no way in hell that someone running at that point, probably a 10-minute average mile should beat us to mile 17, 18, whatever it is. There's just no way. Especially on a day like this, where the city of New York has invited people from all over the globe to come and experience the city. They've invited them to go explore, to look at the borough, to go see the boroughs. Look at how manageable it is to travel in New York using the subway and mass transit. For there not to be an L train that goes straight across from mile 11 into Manhattan, for there not to be that L train is despicable disgrace, New York City. I hate to say it. Now, look, if I'm watching like a Des Linden or something, yeah, look, I'm not going to get that, but for every normal person that came there to watch their family member, and trust me, we saw shirts from all over the globe, for that L train to only be running on one track because they're doing a maintenance in the middle of the New York City Marathon. And that's the main, from where we were, probably, I guess, from a half hour or so of a highly trafficked area of the marathon. That's a disgrace. I'm sorry. To wait 25 minutes on the platform is a total disgrace, New York City. And honestly, if that's the worst of it, all right, that's not so bad. But get your act together. And I don't know. We got off the subway. We were heading over to First Avenue, and I looked down at the map, and Joe was like 3 blocks away. He was 3 streets away. We were 3 avenues away, and the avenues are way longer than the streets. So we couldn't make it, and we missed him up First Avenue. And that really bothers me because that was kind of the point where his speed started to he just started to reel it back a little bit. And he was over that 10-minute mark, and he kind of lost it around mile 20. And it didn't totally fall apart. He didn't run any 14, 15, 16-minute miles, anything like that. He was 11 minutes, 12 minutes. There's a hill that goes up Fifth Avenue that I warned him about. It's kind of a low-grade hill, but it's really long. And I think that kind of he tried his best at mile 22 to put a last-minute effort on it. And 4:39 is still within his goal, well within the range of him being happy with his performance. I think he just went a little too much too early. And, I think there's no regret there for him. I think he thinks, I know he thinks that had he been disciplined, 4:25 was a day. That would have been the day. But he admits to getting swept up in the excitement, and there's so much of it there. It's so easy. And you know what? He went for it. And you can't blame him for going for it. You just can't. Because if 4:10, 4 hours, 4:05, 4:10, if that was a possibility that day, at this point in his running career, he wanted to go get it. And he tried, and he just missed it. So I don't have any problems with him going for it. I don't think we regret that he came in at 4:39 instead of a potential, say, 4:25. Had he been a little more disciplined, he acknowledges that he went for it. And you know what? Why not? Why not go for it? He didn't kill himself. He didn't, he wasn't, he wasn't hobbling. He was able to kind of get home after, get back to the hotel. I'll tell you, if there's, the one thing that I acknowledge that New York did wrong was the subway was terrible. The other thing, the finish line there is just a disaster. It really is. Trying to find your people, and it kind of is at a lot of big races, but trying to find your people in that mess, Columbus Circle. They close off Columbus Circle, and really, I kind of think it should just be like they should just let people mill around there. It's a big area. People can find each other better. The fact that they walk all the runners up to 77th and then make them walk all the way down to where we met him is 60th. I mean, that's not really fair to do to people after. And if you run the New York City Marathon and you talk to people about it, they will always kind of warn you about that, because really it's 26.2 miles. But if you include that 1 mile, it's like a mile walking just to get out, and the poncho situation there. Joe's like, man, it was like a free-for-all getting those ponchos. Yes, it is. That's what it is. I don't know why people can't just make a line. Why can't you just make a line? Make it a little bit organized. Every year is the same thing with the damn ponchos. It's like they make a big deal out about signing up to get one, and then you sign up to get one, and it's like it's a disaster. You got to throw elbows in order to get one. There's no sense of order. Why can't they just make that easy? I don't know. It bothers me. But the ponchos are nice. You'll use them that day. They're very warm. You really need them. It was a little chilly. It wasn't as bad as the prior years, but definitely was a little chilly as a spectator. Just the wind was making it a little bit cold. And after you've run 26.2 and you're not going to, your body temperature is coming down, it's cold outside, that poncho is a lifesaver. It just needs to be a better way to get it to people. That's my three criticisms. That's my three criticisms. If that's my criticisms of your race, it's a very good race. The finish line needs to be a little more orderly and fair for runners to get out and see their families. The poncho situation needs to be more orderly, and the subway's got to be working. Mayor de Blasio, he's a joke. Anyway, that's some people are like, oh, don't talk politics. He's a joke when it comes to New York City Marathon. Everything else, I don't really care. I don't live in New York anymore. All right, guys. That's really kind of all I got. Look, I love the New York City Marathon. Congratulations to all you guys that finished it. It's an experience. Every single one that I've done it 3 times. I'll never forget those days. Never will. The first time I did it was my first marathon. It was to me, that was the most special finish line that I've ever crossed. I have pictures of that day. I just will never, ever forget that day. I never thought I'd ever run a marathon. And that day was so special to me. I'll never forget that day. The second day, the second time I ran it, I was a little bit worse for wear. I went out too fast. I hit the wall. I almost quit. Stephanie walked me through. I met Ray Magana. Stephanie walked with me for a mile to get to the bridge to the Bronx. I kind of wanted to quit, and I didn't. Then I met up with Ray Magana, who became sort of a lifelong friend here, part of our group. What a great day that was. And then, the third time we ran it with our friend Jess. Jessica kind of wanted to train for the marathon, but then didn't actually train for it. I think her long run was 6 miles, and she struggled through that day. And Stephanie struggled through that day, and we got through it in 7 hours and 15 minutes, something like that. It was a long, long day. But, to watch Jessica finish that day was really, really cool. That was really cool. Something I'll never forget either. So every time I've run that race, it's been special. There's just a couple things that, the crowd is so incredible. And with the weather, I don't know. It's from what I understand, not only is it the biggest clothing drive of the year, and that, everyone gets there, it's cold, they have throwaway clothes, and they donate all those clothes to the homeless. What a great thing that they do. But it's the biggest spectator sport every year. And you think about it, doesn't it make sense? It's one of the biggest cities in the world. People line the streets, sometimes multiple rows deep. You come off that bridge at First Avenue. How many people are there meeting you guys? You guys were cheered on by 1 million people, probably. I would guess 1 million people. And I think it's great. I think it's a great event. I struggle with. It was Sunday, so the Jets played, and they were a total embarrassment, losing to the Dolphins. And after the game, after the race, I kind of went back and I'm looking and I'm like, I don't understand why the city has a fascination with sports like football. We watched a race with 50,000 entrants. 50,000 people participated. 1 million people were in New York City. Yet I opened the sports section of the New York Post, and all it is crap about the New York Jets. One of the Jets corners even ripped apart the fans. I don't even want to tell you what he said. It was disturbing. As a Jets fan, you can sit there and you can root on these guys that are already paid. They're paid millions of dollars. They go out there and they embarrass you as a fan, you as a city, and then they rip you apart for cheering for them, for being upset that they not only did they lose, but they lost embarrassingly. You really gotta second guess it's like that. I don't know if you guys remember Ralph Kiner. Ralph Kiner was an awesome hitter in the early 1900s, hit a lot of home runs, played for the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates were terrible. He asked the boss for a raise one year, and the boss was like, look, we lose with you, we can lose without you. Well, hello, Darryl Roberts, Jamal Adams. Hello, all you clowns with your big mouths. And then I go and I watch a race like the New York City Marathon, and we cheered on Des Linden. At one point, she ran by us. She was in first place at mile 11. Snapped a picture of her. She was all smiles. She ran by. She gave it her all. She came in 6th place. Did she curse out the fans? Now, mind you, here's a woman. It's not unlike football, where you're guaranteed your money when you go out and play no matter what. Unlike football, had she won the race, her salary is enhanced greatly. Her notoriety is enhanced greatly. Her endorsements get higher, get more. Everything is a benefit for her to win. And yet when she wins and she gets interviewed, or when she comes in sixth, she gets interviewed, does she curse out the fans? Does she get angry? No, it's humility. It's a good sense of humor. It only makes you want to cheer her on more. And so I don't understand our fascination with these clowns. And I hate to say it because I love football. I do. I love football. I'm done buying jerseys. I'm done paying for tickets and going to games. I'm done spending any money on football, period, in my life. I will never, ever spend money on football. Mark that down. Yeah, I'll subject myself to advertising. And I understand that that's something, that there's value, I guess, in that. Some advertising marketing guy will tell you that. But I'm not buying a jersey. I'm not paying for tickets. That ain't happening anymore. It's just not. I will spend my money traveling to New York City, watching my friend Joe and Team Ordinary People finishing the marathon. That's a good use of money. And then I got to open the New York Post, 9 articles about the Jets, 5 articles about the Giants playing last night, and then one buried in there, one little, New York City Marathon article. I think we got our priorities messed up a little bit here. I just think we do, and I think it's something that we need to revisit, because I think we just get attacked by the ESPN marketing and all the billionaire owners of these teams that make so much money off of us, and we should be cheering on. You know what we should be doing? We should be cheering on the very last person that finished on Sunday. That's what we should be doing. That's it. That's all I got to say. That's my message. And that's kind of what Team Ordinary is. Joe said he was running through the city, and he's like, a lot of people, and one of the things we do is, as a cheering section, we watch people run by. We look for their shirts. We look for their names. We yell their names. We try to, give them encouragement. And Joe's shirt said Team Ordinary, and people were yelling, Team Ordinary, Team Ordinary. People were, he said some people on occasion would yell Ordinary Marathoner, which means that there are people, some of you guys probably listening, who are actually out there cheering, and you knew that Team Ordinary meant Ordinary Marathoner, which is awesome. That's just awesome. And when he told me about that, it gave me a little warm and fuzzy feeling inside, that you guys are out there, that you guys are recognizing, the effort that it takes for these athletes to go out and run 26.2 miles, whether it takes them 3 hours and 41 minutes like Georgios Zavolas, whether it takes them 2 hours and 20 minutes like Des Linden, whether it takes them, all day. It doesn't matter. They get to the finish line. They try their hardest. And I think as fans of the sport and just as normal, everyday people, we can appreciate that. And that's all I got to say for today. We're going to call it a day. We'll be back with a podcast later in the week. I have a podcast ready. I'm just doing the video with Aura Kennedy and Stephanie, who ran Marine Corps Marathon. It's a recap of that. I can't wait to get that out. I'm working hard on it. Matt Shore did a blog post for us today that's going to be out shortly. And remember, every day is an ordinary day unless you make it extraordinary. So get after it, guys.